G'day everyone. I have been crafting some gear for my Frost Iris and I don't know why I wasn't recording, to be honest. So let's just have a quick squiz at what I have crafted so far. I had this ring. It was tier 1 growth with a tier 2 to 4 minion damage, lightning res, erosion res, and fire res. I managed to get that to a 5 tier 1 base, which is pretty rare. Unfortunately, when I upgraded the growth, it removed the minion damage, so I just targeted crafted on those two items. I also crafted this amulet. Afterwards, I realized that using an expensive base like a Lunar Corona, when you're removing the item affix anyway, bit pointless. It was a +1 minion skill base. And then I crafted on tier 1 max energy shield, crit strike rating, crit strike damage. And then I target crafted on the cold skill, and the last slot was actually a blemish. So replace number 6 affix with a sweet dream. That replaced the blemish with a mini warden's breastpin. And then I just target crafted on the I target crafted on the skill level before I did this, because that locks out the crafting. Now, I also have to unequip that and put on a Fiend Crown, but that's cheap. I'll do that later. I still need a new weapon. We'll do that in this video as well, maybe. That's not a good base, actually. Not for this build that I'm following. So I'm going to craft a second ring. This one is okay for what it is. It's not great. It was just an early ring. So first off, we need to go to the trade house. I want an Aurora ring because it's got percentage max energy shield. You could go prisoner ring. That'd also be a very good option because a portion of our crit strike damage is being transferred to the minions, and the endgame build is with a corroded warden's breastpin, but that's like 2,500 flame elementium. So this is the cheaper version of the build. Next, what we want is we want a minimum of 2 results. We want, actually no, we want a minimum of 1 result. So what we want is critical strike damage. We want erosion res. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Tier 1 erosion, tier 1 crit strike damage, and I'll leave the other res because we also want Spirit Magus growth. We want this as tier 1. So looking at the bases, we could actually search properly. We need max gear plasticity, or at least 100 if we have the other two at tier 1. So now we're looking at 180 FE for that base, which is okay. 180. Do I go for that, or do I see how much it is with gear plasticity of 200? Remove that condition group altogether. We just want that. Now we're looking at 175. 180 is still looking pretty good because it's got an extra. That's nice. That's real nice. But it's 280. 155. It's not really much cheaper. I've still got a tier 1 res on it though, so I'll favorite that to look at in a bit. 50. That is a pretty good price for what it is. So we'll use that one as a starter example. I wouldn't recommend trying to craft with anything less. If you're going for a really good craft, I would not try with anything less than 1,000 flame elementium. Obviously, you can do this to lower tiers and do it with much less. However, if you are going for two tier zeros and one tier 1 crafting base, it's going to be very expensive. Now, this is tier 2, so I will upgrade that one at the end. Now, you can normally lock one and roll for a second. This base already had a second, so that's really good. At the end of this, it's going to cost 30 flame elementium to get that to tier 1. It's just a bit of extra cost that you have to factor in when buying something. If this base was 150 and that other one with 2 tier 1s is 180, it's practically the same cost because this is going to cost 30 to get to tier 1 anyway. So just something to think about. Now what we want to do is lock these two and get a third affix that is good. And then we will go from there. So we got tier 1 lightning resistance, which is great. That was super fast. So now we just want to upgrade that. And now we actually have 151 wasted plasticity, which is fine. In the case of my other ring, I had extra, but the other two stats were actually good. That's why I upgraded those, just to alleviate the gamble. Now, what we are going to do from here is quite expensive. We do need ultimate embers. I have 0. So I'll need a minimum of 2. I say a minimum because the chance of hitting this is quite low. You want to go to item, ultimate embers, and they have skyrocketed in price. Oh no, they're just... Let's go with 25 because we saw the 25s. No, let's go back to 22. See if there's any up for 22. There's 5 up for 20. That's probably good because we are going to do multiple crafts, most likely. I was going to say I don't have a helmet, but I remember what I did. So this is the gamba part of crafting. If you hit this, this is, I would say, 75% of the battle. Now, most of these bases were 150. Upgrading that to tier 1 was an extra 30. So at this point, we're at 180 flame elementium. We want to upgrade this and remove max mana and mana regen speed. If we hit either of these two, the item's bricked. So we have a 50% chance, a 2 in 4 chance of hitting what we need. And then the next gamba is the costly one. So we removed lightning resistance. This item is now bricked. We just wasted 50 plus 20, so 70. We're currently at 250 flame elementium down the drain. So now we need to go back and get another crafting base. This one was reasonable for 155, so we'll get that. So let's just bring up the calculator. So we were 250 plus this base of 155. We are now 400 flame elementium in the hole. So as you can see, it's really, really expensive to craft really good items. So when you see them up for 2,000-3,000 flame elementium, this is why. So you want to lock those two and craft on a third affix. Noting that we are using plasticity right now. If you only lock one, you are not using plasticity. That's why if you have a ton of flame sand, you can often get the second tier 2 minion damage. That will do us. So 30 there. So we'll add 30 to the cost. We're at 435. We're about to hit this one. That's another 70. We're at 500 flame elementium. And we managed to remove the cast speed, which is great. Now we want to remove the XP earned. Now, at this point, do I decide that I want to do that later? You can always come back and do that gamba a little bit more later on. Looking at the other prefixes, what would I put on? I would probably put on, I know what I would put on. I would put on the max energy shield. So I would be replacing, ultimately, I would be replacing 2% XP earned with some tank. What I'm planning on doing is just some 7-2 speed farming. So I don't need to take that gamba on replacing the XP earned with max energy shield, and also that would also increase the minion damage to tier 0, which would be quite good. That would increase it to 60 to 90%. So it's a pretty decent upgrade, but it is also extremely expensive, and you can come back and do it later. So target processing, you want to come here, we want erosion resistance. Let's just quickly double check actually. We will be removing that, which means that we need erosion resistance, a little bit of cold, and fire. I probably should have looked at that previously, because this has tier 1 lightning and we don't need lightning, but that's fine. We're in the hole now, so let's keep going. Just a little bit of forethought required. So we need erosion and fire resistance. Now, erosion is the main priority. So looking at our FE, we have 1,825. I had over 3,000 before I started crafting, so just a little FYI. We get tier 4, we just reforge until we hit tier 0. That was insanely lucky, because there is a 1.75% chance for that to happen, and I got it on the third tap. Now, another, is it on rings? It is. I could go for 24% alley res. However, I know I needed much more fire resistance. So let's hit this, and we got 33%. Is that enough to make this work? Let's put it on. It is. We are now fire capped. We are nowhere near erosion capped, and when our alley res aura levels up, we will be cold res capped as well. So ideally, I would replace my boots next if I was crafting more stuff, and I would put erosion res on this and go from there. But that is a quick how-to. Stuff it. Let's make a staff as well. I do have a giveaway going, but I'm going to farm up a bunch of currency today, so it doesn't matter too much. Let's have a look at the weapon. We want the base gear of a staff. We want a sage staff with a crit strike rating. We want gear plasticity of 200. We want the super rare spell skill level of tier 1. Now, when you are crafting something, I'll show you in a bit, you can see the chance of getting certain affixes on your gear through flame sand crafting. Now I realize that I'm kind of low on flame sand, so I may need to, excuse me, I may need to buy some more flame sand. So we want spell skill level, and ultimately we want cooldown recovery speed. Now, the thing that you have to consider here is with the Gamba, if I get both of these on here, I really want both of those to be tier 0. And crafting a two-handed weapon takes twice as many ultimate embers and twice as much flame elementium to upgrade to tier 1 and tier 0. So instead of it being 50 flame elementium and 1 ultimate ember, it's going to be 100 flame elementium and 2 ultimate embers. So it's going to be a minimum of 140 flame elementium per attempt at getting a tier 0. So to that end, I will remove that because I will try and target craft that on, and then I'll add a condition group, and I want a minimum of 1 result for spell critical strike damage and spell critical strike chance. Just realized something else that I really need on this, which is the additional cast speed, additional spell damage. That's fun. What am I looking for? Crit strike rating. T1. So 1 of those, and we'll see what they cost. They're pretty cheap. +3 spell, 200 plasticity, and crit strike rating. 120 for spell crit strike damage. I kind of just want the crit strike damage. There we go. That one will do. So it cost 500 FE to do the ring. Let's keep a track of what it costs to do the staff. So 45 for the base. Let's do that. So it's up the top here somewhere. All right. So now we have this and this. We can go to the affix list and see how rare stuff is. So the spell skill level had a 0.104% chance to craft on there at all. And then of that 0.1% chance, there was a 23% chance that it was tier 1. So really that 0.1% chance is a 0.025% chance of getting a tier 1 spell skill. That is why you should try and get that from the trade house, because that is an extremely low chance. Now the next thing that we need on here is additional spell skill, additional spell damage with minus additional cast speed. It's a 0.3% chance, so it's extremely low. So if that goes on there, even at tier 3, we're going to stop and upgrade that onto the weapon. That can be at tier 1. It'll be great at tier 0. So that is what we're going to aim for as our third. As you can notice, it's costing 40 flame sand because it's double with two-handed weapons. There we go. We got extremely lucky again. Now we're going to upgrade this. That was a 0.3% chance. I'm just extremely lucky today, it seems. All that luck is about to go down the toilet very, very quickly. So we upgrade that to tier 1. Now we have the Gamba base that we want. We do want this to remove tier 8 mana regen or minion attack and cast speed. It is going to cost 140 flame elementium per attempt. So bam, we have just bricked this item. Unfortunately, because it removed the tier 1 spell crit strike damage. Yeah. So now we have to buy another base. Go back, buy another base. I might see if I can get a base with the additional spell at tier 1. Stuff. Additional. Tier 1. 30 FE for that. I will take it. That one's crafted. So if you don't want that one to show, you can always go back to the start here. Corroded gear doesn't matter anymore for crafting, as you cannot corrode non-legendary gear anymore. You used to be able to, and now you can't. So just remember that you want gear plasticity and whether to include target crafted affixes. No. And then that was the only one that was available. So that's quite lucky that we got that. We'll claim that. We're now plus 30 for that base. We're at 215 for the staff so far. We'll bring it up here, and it's this one. So we want to lock those two, and we want crit strike rating, crit strike damage on this. Or okay, so this is actually quite insane. Now, we have a very good chance of getting a good item here. We have enough plasticity and enough flame elementium to upgrade both of these to tier 1. Crit strike damage is the priority, so 10, that's 30, that's 90, plus 90. So we're at 300. Now we need to upgrade the crit strike rating. It's going to take 21 to 39. We've got 71, so that's definitely getting to tier 0. 35 to 65. We have the minimum, so it's going to work. Now we have a base with 4 tier 1s and 1 tier 9. Now we have a 3 in 4 chance of succeeding. We need another ultimate ember. We just need 1. So I have confidence that this will succeed. We have a very good chance that this will succeed and remove this. Actually, there's a 1 in 4 chance that we get what we want. I don't know why I thought it was a good chance. Oh, it's a 1 in 4 chance that this is good. And we got it. Nice. All right. So that was 140 flame elementium. We're now at 445 for this item. It's quite a nice item. However, we need cooldown recovery speed at tier 0 for this build, and a prefix of minion damage is probably pretty good, or spell damage. Additional damage applied to life is pretty good too. Spell damage or minion damage? Let's quickly look at the guide. That's always helpful. The guide has these two in cooldown recovery speed. That one is open. So let's put in the CDR. That's already there. And we will put in the I think additional damage applied to life is going to be quite nice instead of minion damage. Now CDR has a 100% chance to get on there. However, it only has a 1.75% chance of being what we want. And additional damage applied to life has a 26% chance. So depending on how quickly we get tier 0 with this, noting we have 1266, we want to reforge until we get tier 0. Tier 1 is not good enough for what we have. Tier 0, sweet. I really should keep enough currency to cover the giveaway. So ideally, I can come back later and do that again. But for right now, I just want to put something on there that's going to be useful. So let's go with minion damage. So 90% minion damage is okay. It's not 360%, but we also are keeping a little bit of currency aside. Now we can always come back later and juice that up by reforging this and going for additional damage to max life or whatever it was. But for right now, that is a pretty sweet weapon. I doubt there's any up for sale. No, there's not. Even if we untick that. Oh, there you go. 7,600 flame elementium. Would it sell for that? I don't know. Some stuff this season is going for ridiculous prices. And honestly, that was a very lucky base. Now, I could have gone for the tier 1 additional spell damage as well. But then it has a chance to remove the +6 spell skill level. If it removed one of these two, that'd be great. But is a tier 0 spell skill better than losing a tier 1 here? Because that's another tier 1 that I would have to target craft on for a very low % chance. The chance of hitting multiple tier 0s in a row is extremely low. It does happen. I've done it this season. But, you know, you got to be super lucky. I don't need these gloves anymore. So that is another way that I can make up that cold res and erosion res and fire. What the hell? Did that seriously have all that on it? Has cold, lightning. Doesn't have fire. Did my old weapon have... Oh, no, I see what happened. So I would have lost the energy to equip the elemental res aura. Something you'll have to do is just come over and make sure you get a good amount of energy. I've only got 1,000. 119 will do. Generally 3 energy is not going to make that much of a difference. Anyway, that's what I have for this video. Hopefully it gave you a decent understanding. One last thing that you can do, which is what I did for my amulet, is Dream Interpretation. Now I'll do it on another item. I won't do it on an item that I'm wearing because that would be silly. Now what you can do is you can come in here and you can put an item in, any old item, and you can see what you want to get for the Dream Interpretation buff. Now what I did with my amulet, do I have a spare amulet? I've got other amulets there, so that's good. Dream Interpretation. Let's throw an amulet in there. You can go through and see what you can get. So you can get max affix ranges. You can get max life, blah, blah, blah. But this is the one that is godly for minion builds. It's like a mini Warden's Breastpin. Warden's Breastpin is fine if you want to deal physical damage, unless you want to spend 2,000 or 3,000 FE getting one that's corroded. So you want to get crit strike rating. Crit strike damage are also applied to minions. You can also get other things which are nowhere near as good for this build. So you just hit go, you look at the options, you abandon, you just go again until you get what you want. Do not accept these because they are replacing your base affix. Do not accept something subpar. Just abandon it and go again. These are quite cheap. On the trade house, they're half a flame elementium each, and they drop a lot. So just something to take note of. Just keep going until you get the one that you want, whatever it may be. I'll go 5 more times to see if we get it. Make sure it's still there. Yep. I changed necklace, so I was just making sure. 2, 3. There we go. So that is the one that we want. Replace the number 1 affix with crit strike damage and crit strike rating for minions. You record, and then you have to choose a downside. Downgrade all suffixes by 1 tier. Downgrade the number 3 affix to, it says to tier 2, but it's by 2 tiers. So that'd lower that to tier 7 if 7 was available. Replace number 5 affix with a blemish. I wonder if that's going to do anything, because the cold res is the 5th affix. I'm curious. Huh. So it counts 1, 2, 3 affixes. So that is a translation issue. That should say your 5th, not the 5th. So the 5th affix is the 5th affix slot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But yeah, so that is how you craft on the Dream Interpretation. Haunting Dream is much more expensive. These were going for like 7 each. Now they're about 5 each. So 50 flame elementium per attempt. You can get better things, but it's also far more expensive. Okay, I think that's it for this video. What's this? Recent contact. Oh, someone has questions about my boom moto. I never even noticed that. I've no friends. I've no friends. Oh, I got a request list here. Oh, this person wants to be my friend. There we go. I have a random friend. Anyway, that's what I've got. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching.